Hello and welcome to Evolve Pipedrive Podcast, which are all things Pipedrive, sales, apps, and Pipedrive Marketplace. My name is Bruce Bignell. I only run Evolve. We're a technology consultancy based in the UK, working globally, helping people get more out of Pipedrive through implementation, consultancy, training, and aftercare. If you're building out your tech stack, we put together the Evolve Sales OS. It's a small list of curated apps designed to help you sell more, along with a free masterclass with over 4 hours worth of content from not from us, but from the founders and leaders in those businesses. Places like Surf, Pipedrive, Just Call, and Outplay. You'll find the links in the description below. Today, though, I have the pleasure of being joined by Vlad Gozman, the CEO at Involve Me. Involve Me is a platform that allows you to create branded forms, surveys, and quizzes in less than a minute. It's really cool. Vlad has nearly 20 years of experience in starting online businesses from his time at eCore Publishing Solutions, where, among other things, they were pioneering online vouchers and couponing all the way back in 2008. Vlad has also founded TEDx Vienna in 2010, which is still going strong. It was their last event held in May, and their new event, TED AI Vienna, is Europe's first TED conference on AI, multi-day AI conference, which is October the 17th, 19th, I think, of this year. He loves B2B SaaS products at the intersection of AI and no code, and he was using AI way before ChatGPT made it cool. So, without further ado, Vlad, welcome. Please introduce yourself and involve me to our audience.
Hello, Bruce. Thank you for the invitation. I'm super happy to be here. So I'm Vlad Gozman, co-founder and CEO of Involve Me. I think you've done a great job in introducing me, so thank you. Involve Me and Evolve, like
here we are.
Sounds like a match made in heaven. Yes, so I've been a founder for now over 16 years, which is a lot. I founded my first company out of university back in 2007. I was born and raised in Romania, so I went to study in Bucharest, and I finished my studies in business administration in 2007. But I always honed my sort of passion for tech on the side. And in 2007, when Romania joined the EU, I saw that as a chance to start a consultancy business. So we helped other companies within Romania update their technology stack to be on the standards of the European Union, which in a few years were imposed on Romania. So we helped them get the funding necessary, put up the technical side of the project, the business side of the application, and then help them align with the EU standards. So
where did that come from? Is that you? What's that curiosity there? Is that you? Is that your dad? Is that a friend that's saying, "Hey, Vlad, we can do this"? Because you're forward thinking enough to know that trigger point of Romania joining the EU is going to be quite a pivotal moment, right?
Right. So it is quite kind of a curiosity. I think I grew up like as a young child in communism still. My parents have been lived most of their lives in communism. So sort of they were, I think, the opposite of what I became. So in a sense, not by ideology, but by
environment.
Yeah, by environment and the ideology that has been imposed on them and sort of shaped their day to day. So they could not live out any entrepreneurial way of life. So I think I sort of evolved as opposite to that as I could. But my father was a programmer, by the way. So he used to program on punch cards way back before any of this AI stuff was cool. So I had like a sort of I took something from them, but I also evolved something in complete contradiction to them. And I saw it as a chance in 2007. It was not something that I was extremely passionate about, but it was something where I saw a lot of chance. And I think the passion bit came in seeing that I can help businesses achieve something. And this being helpful, that probably is a passion. So
Yeah. Well, it's not a bad because the principle of being helpful, can help in any kind of business that you look to start. If you look to be helpful first versus making the biggest amount of money, you've got something nice and true there for decades to build on.
yes.
So in terms of like what you're building now, right? So what does the team look like? Obviously, you're the co-founder. What's the kind of size of the team? What departments is that split into? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so fast forward to today, over a decade later, decade and a half later, we've launched Involve Me in 2019 as a bootstrapped self-serve freemium SaaS, and have grown it since with a relatively small but extremely talented team of only 12 people at the moment. We're actually looking to hire, but it's been an interesting journey so far. So we've managed in the third year to become profitable, and since then have grown on our own pace, I would say.
Nice.
Currently we have around 3,500 customers, mainly in the US, but also in Western Europe and Australia, UK, and our focus is a lot on SMB, but more and more moving towards mid-market.
Okay. And are there particular use cases or industries that are kind of really strong for the Involve Me?
Yeah. So what Involve Me is, in a nutshell, it's an AI-powered form builder. As you said in the beginning, it helps businesses generate these type of interactive content pieces in less than a minute, and businesses use it. Sort of our strong, the strongest first use case is lead generation and qualification. So businesses use Involve Me to create these interactive content pieces that live on their website. They get integrated on their homepage or landing pages, and what they do is they enable users to be guided to the right offering, the right product, a right result, and in the process, we gather a valuable customer and lead data, both on preferences and sort of more profile data, but also personal data. And that gets fed into a customer profile in the back that gets tied to the CRM, the marketing automation, so this whole sales and marketing stack. And some processes, like a sales process, is being automatically kickstarted. So usually we are industry agnostic. There are what you would call a horizontal SaaS, for lack of a better word. There are some industries where it's used more than others, but we don't define our ideal customer profile according to industry, but rather by use case. And it's this lead generation and qualification.
And is it typically because if it's lead generation, is it a curious salesperson or a sales leader in the business that's going out and saying, hey, how can I find a better way to capture great data and put that into the business? Or is it from marketing? Or like what's the kind of, and has that changed as you're going more mid-market? Like what's the kind of route for you there?
That's a very interesting question. Definitely, it has changed. So very good observation. It used to be more market. So it's both teams, right? It's marketing and sales teams. it used to be more marketing. As we go more mid-market, it seems to be more sales. So also maybe one other differentiator is that it's used across B2C and B2B, but sort of the feature stack that we have is more geared towards B2B use cases. So the more you sell to B2B, where a lead is more valuable to you, it tends to be more useful because there are more features like email verification, for instance, that is very useful.
Talk about useful. I can see there's so many good use cases here, right? And I've seen so many, certainly from the leads. If you think about the Alex Hormozy talking about lead magnets, or other people talking about lead magnets, and you see the rise of quizzes. Why do things like that work what's the psychology behind someone engaging with that to then get the preferred output that you want? Like what's the because there's been forms on websites for decades, right? So because at the end of the day, we're capturing data. So whether it's quizzes, whether it's surveys, because the other thing here is it isn't just sales and lead generation. It could be customer feedback. Like you could use the same data capture and having a different front end. But what's the psychology behind someone engaging with that form differently in the form of a quiz?
Right. So our thinking is that we're on a mission to enable businesses to have better digital conversations. And if you think about these interactions with your audience, with your user base, potential customers, existing customers, if you think about it like a conversation, then it's not enough to offer something static. It's not enough to just ask. It's not enough to just show. You need to engage in a sort of conversation, and that's where we see a rise in conversational interfaces, chatbots, and the likes. But there are some use cases where it makes more sense to give the control really in the user's hands, and this is where Involve Me comes into play. So on the one side, we enable you to create these interactive content pieces so that your user is in the driving seat. They sort of decide on the pace and the way they interact with it, but it's still conversational. It's still, you ask for information, and you, on the flip side, and this is the second point, you also give something back. It's not enough to just ask nowadays, right? Like the concept of lead magnets it still works in a lot of cases because it gives something back, right? Yep. So, and if you combine these things, what comes out is content like the one that you can generate and Involve Me, where you answer your questions and give out something of value at the end. And then for that, I'm very happy to share with you information around my profile and the likes.
Yeah, and this is where it gets what you're building is actually the word static and conversational and kind of digital conversation, because what you have built so far and what you are building is a platform that, based on the answers that I give, you can then create, like using AI, custom responses to those inputs. So it's no longer fill this out, get the static PDF, but you might get a bespoke quote. You might get so it's no longer just input this because I'm going to send you our pricing guide. Right. It can be useful.
Right. So it's not like the static PDF that everybody gets. It's every user can get something custom. You can use our formula builder, our calculator. You can use the AI generated responses within the forms, and you can use conditional logic. And if you put all of these together, you can create really custom paths for users. You can give them, as you said, custom feedback and custom results. So for that, that's incentive enough for me to engage with your brand. But I would argue even more, it's something users expect nowadays.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you this. So there's all these kind of product innovations on the back end, and obviously right now there's the I did see a Google engineer saying the rise of LLMs had actually halted AI in not AI improvement, but halted AI um, exploration and research because everything's gone into LLMs at the moment, which I thought was fascinating. And for someone that's been in AI before, that got really large. However, so there's all the so two questions in this, right? So one, with the rise in LLMs, what does it mean for you as a business owner? What you can build, and what does the level of expectation? So what do people now expect when they land on your site, and what are you finding there? And how do you capture that feedback of expectations from what people want?
Right. So when we saw sort of the first GPT API, and before ChatGPT, before it sort of came into the mass consciousness,
Yeah.
it was extremely exciting to play with it, and the we always, when we build something and Involve Me and expand on the features, that we always ask ourselves and our customer base, where can it provide value? So what I see that we started early. We implemented a few of the AI features. They were at the time a novelty. What changed is the pace in which they became just table stakes. So the way we implemented, for instance, AI to personalize results, to personalize feedback, and so forth. That hasn't been done so far in this way. I would argue that our customers see it as expected to happen, right? So I think the rise of LLMs and the access to the APIs just makes the types of obvious features table stakes, and then where you can sort of differentiate and sort of have a leg up is the way you integrate it within your very unique offering. And that's where it will make a difference, right? So I would argue the AI generation, that is something that a lot of tools do, right? So the AI generation of forms, of websites, of designs, that these are among the first use cases that everybody sort of implements. And these become table stakes, and people expect that, right? They don't even think about it as an innovation, and you can say oh, we do this. No, it's just one of the other features, right? But where you can differentiate is within, right? So when we talk about Involve Me, when I look at the way you can personalize and you can create these different paths and the different logic behind it, looking at implementing AI there, this is not something that you could replicate easily in another platform, because it is dependent on all of the different features working together. And that's where it will shine. And that's why I highlighted the sort of the AI feedback and the personalization aspect of it. That's not easy to replicate, because you would need to replicate everything else. So obviously an API call is easy to do for some. It's not just an API call, it's still some or working with the data before that, but still it's relatively easy nowadays. But then to put everything together, you would need to build all of the other features, right?
Yeah.
And that is not that easy. And at least that takes time and effort. So yeah.
Yeah, and I have seen the platform. It's a testament to kind of what you're building as a really just easy to use. It feels like I think you said it feels like a plug and play kind of website builder, right? So it's really nice and easy. Um, but then there's quite powerful tools embedded in that. Um, and there's kind of three. What are the three AI pieces, the pillars that you're leaning on at the moment? You've got the AI reports, so leveraging insights from what you're capturing. You've got the AI generation of the questions based on visiting your website, understanding the context of your website. There's actually more to that, right? Because it also understands the coloring, the logo gets pulled over. There's actually quite a lot going on there.
Definitely.
Um,
So
and
yeah.
what would be the third? What's the third piece?
Yeah, so maybe in the order that that you would put them. So the third piece is using AI to offer personalized
Yeah,
feedback and responses within the flow of a form
yeah,
to each user. And but we think about it using AI to automate the creation. So that's basically input your URL and the
yeah,
prompt, and it would take the context of your website. It would take the prompt as a starting point, and it would take also the assets, and it would build out a draft template based on your corporate identity, but also on the context of your business that you can then just use. And obviously, you might, in 99% of the cases, you might not use it directly as is,
yeah,
but it cuts like 80% of the time invested. So
yeah,
it would give you a boost in productivity and efficiency in there. So that's the creation part. The second is the personalization. As I mentioned, you can use the AI generated text block within a form, either throughout, like in at different steps, or at the end. And you can pipe, you can create personal, you can create your own prompts, and you can also pipe data from that specific customer, right? So or user, personal data. You can pipe in the context. You can pipe in the some of the features that they have, and then it would create feedback that is very personalized and specific to that user.
yeah. Very cool.
And then the third one is the AI generated reports, basically giving you insights into the data. So what you can do is you gather a lot of data, quantitative but also qualitative, and it really shines with the qualitative data. Where in the qualitative data you need to sift through to tons of data points, answers that might mean the same thing are written differently, but
Yeah,
you would need to label them so you can group them as the same thing.
yeah,
Well, now you don't need to do that anymore. You can just click a button, generate a report, and the AI would do all of that hard work for you, would sort of be able to cluster different answers that actually mean the same thing and give
yeah.
you a
Like
percentage
the
point.
semantic understanding of yeah,
Exactly. So these are, so the creation, the personalization, and the analysis of forms. That's what we do with AI. Um,
yeah.
in
No,
a nutshell.
that's much more succinct than what I said. So what does the future look like? So is it you said that you're hiring? Is that hiring in sales? Is that hiring in marketing, dev team? And what do you think the roadmap looks like?
Yeah. So we're hiring across all of these. So we're expanding. We're expanding our footprint. We're expanding the team. Obviously, we're a relatively small team for how big the product is in the
Yeah,
surface area of the product. This is also, by the way, enabled by new technologies, by AI and productivity gains and efficiency gains. Obviously, you need a stellar team, and luckily, we have very talented people on board. But to grow, we need to cover more ground. So I'm hiring in growth marketing. I'm hiring full stack dev in Laravel. I'm hiring somebody as BDR. So different areas, and we're as you said, Involve Me can be used and is used across the customer journey. But again, our positioning really is on at the beginning, on using Involve Me on top of the funnel as this interactive kind of piece layer that can be put over your website, making your website less static, more interactive, increasing the conversion of traffic into qualified leads. And for that, we look at developing features around this type of functionality. So a lot around data quality. Similarly to email verification, we'll roll out phone number verification. A/B testing is something that that will soon roll out. So having an interactive sort of user guide on your website, but having actually different versions with just one code that you can test and optimize for the most conversions. And also on the integration side. So Pipedrive is one of our most active integrations. We have hundreds of customers working with Pipedrive, and we're looking to expand that integration. We're looking to make it more dynamic as well. So pre-populating fields with existing fields from Pipedrive. So we're looking into expanding integrations like that. So
very cool. And the Pipedrive integration, thank you for mentioning it. Tell me more about that. So it's native. Where do you find it? How does it integrate?
Sure. So yes, the Pipedrive integration is a native integration on Involve Me. Actually, one of the first CRMs that we've built, CRM integrations that we've built. You can find us on the Pipedrive marketplace, but obviously there is a dedicated integrations page on Involve Me, where you can find basically all the information that you need, all the links to the help articles and the likes. There are a few tutorials as well, so you can find that it's pretty easy to work with. It's an OAuth integration that you can quickly connect. You can set it up. Very important, maybe I have very important that the Pipedrive integration Involve Me works with when you collect email addresses. So you need to collect that part
Just,
of.
it's trusting the data, right? And because it's that first point of call where that data is going to touch the business. And there's some really nice functions that I saw. So we have done a demo. So if you're listening to this and you want to see what it looks like, just Google Involve and Pipedrive, and you'll see a demo with it there as well. And it's you can basically make sure that it's not just enriching the email, but make sure that they send a proving that their email address before they actually sign up. So you can just make sure that you're not getting any bad data going into your CRM.
Yeah, and I since we have so much experience with Pipedrive and sort of with our customers, having seen how they use it. In Involve Me, you can create again back to the personalization. You can create different outcomes within a form logic within a user flow, and with the outcomes, you can use them to segment leads. And a pro tip for people using Pipedrive like that is creating custom fields for outcome, text type, and mapping it to Pipedrive, and then using that to create automations like kickstart a campaign.
Nice.
So yeah. We've seen
that
that
then
work
becomes the
well.
trigger event in the Pipedrive instance to then start something else.
Exactly. So you might use those outcomes to categorize, let's say, different buyer ICPs,
Yeah.
and then have different campaigns, and that automatically get kickstarted according to what the sort of buyer type they are, for
Yeah.
instance. Right?
Yeah, I love that. So Vlad, as we this has been great talking and get a bit of an introduction, a further introduction to the Involve Me, what you've been up to. But if we just go back about the story, like how did this, were you solving a pain? Like where did this come from? And obviously you co-founded this. So tell us a little bit about that story as well. And it was obviously you've founded multiple businesses, some venture started with venture capital. This this is to your point you've said before, a bootstrapped. So tell us what's that story and how have we come to be co-founding Evolve Me?
Sure. So, coming back to the point in the beginning, right when my journey in Romania ended, after I sold that consulting business, I moved to Austria, to Vienna, in 2010. And I've been fortunate enough to meet some successful founders, some of the few actual digital founders that were at the time in Vienna, Austria, and sort of a nascent startup scene where I felt really at home. And here I over the last 14 plus years, I've been in the same role, more or less, the co-founder, product guy, CEO of various SaaS companies, some less successful than others, but among the successes was Adverity, which is a data integrated data platform for marketers, very enterprise, if you will. So big media agencies use it, big brands like IKEA and the likes. I co-founded that back in late 2012, and was the CEO of it the first 2 years. Then we had a second product there, Cuvo, which was a price comparison add-on for browsers, and we sold that. We exited that and spun out Adverity in a different company, and then I left the company, and the other co-founders wanted to pursue the Adverity sort of road.
Yeah.
I'm still the minority shareholder there, but I've seen it go over the years. So that's very much a venture track business from day one,
Yeah.
just because the nature of it. It needs a lot of investment upfront, and we've spent a few years building the foundation for it until you can get it to monetization, right? So at Adverity, I think over the years we've raised over 160 million, I think, in VC funding. After that, I went on to found a startup in the virtual reality space, basically trying to build a content management system for VR applications. Built a minimum viable product, tried it out, came to the conclusion it's not a viable market. And in the process, started doing some agency work with the team that I had to sort of finance the endeavor. And out of that agency work evolved sort of what Involve Me is today. So we had a few customers like Universal Pictures and some bigger brands that wanted to have these interactive content pieces to get audience data, mainly to build up email lists. And so that was the first integrations were to different emailing automation tools. But then it quickly morphed into more CRM, the CRM direction. And I think what we did, one of the few things to mention, so two things to mention. One is the validation of it. So in contrast to the previous business where we validated through discussions and so forth, here we validated on the market directly. So we validated with intent to pay. And we also approach these businesses as we were building it, the content pieces as an agency. So we were doing each like a custom build, but in essence, they were all the same. So we started developing a few things that would help us automate the process. And
that's quite interesting, because that would have led to some of your design decisions about how do you match how it looks when you're creating it, right? How much time was spent? Is this the right color? Is this the right logo? Is this the
And that's why when you go deep into Involve Me right now, you can really go into any element and you can find options on how the roundness of the buttons is and so forth. And it stems from that early stage where there was a differentiating factor. So we went to them and told them, why aren't you using the type forms? Why aren't you using the off-the-shelf tools that are already there? And part of the answer was they look like third-party tools. They look good. Like a typeform looks great design-wise, but it's recognizable as a typeform and it's limited to that sort of design language and a few constraints there. So they wanted more flexibility in the look and feel so that it doesn't look like a third-party tool when they integrate it. And the second was like they wanted the personalization aspect. So they wanted to have these unique paths that their audience would go through. And putting those two together, we sort of whipped up an MVP, and that MVP we could really quickly test. So we switched the agency customers to subscription customers, and then ran ads and validated that from month one, basically having businesses come in, self-serve and subscribe. So
love it.
Very, very different. The bootstrap versus, and the second thing that I would say is that Involve Me as a type of business, it lends itself to the bootstrap way. I'm by no way an absolutist. I've seen both tracks and both work, and it's not the one or the other. You could start with one and then go the other route when it makes sense. But there are some types of businesses that lend themselves to bootstrap, and others that need that initial cash infusion. Otherwise, you would not be able to get it off the ground. So,
So that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Just one last thing on you and kind of the people that you're bringing around you, right? So you said that it sounded like you found your tribe when you moved to Vienna, as it was starting out. So a small tribe of kind of startup people in that space. What has that turned into? So obviously you've now got the TEDx Vienna, so there must be a bigger community now. And has that led you to, when you start these new endeavors, is there a unifying person that you always like to co-found with, or have you always started things with other people, and you actually bring the energy to the projects? Is that what you're finding? So that there's one question there, and then the next thing was, I found out only an hour ago that your wife is helping or co-hosting the TEDx AI in Vienna. So there's obviously a partnership in there as well. So So my question, for both of those elements, how do you think about your role and who you kind of involve yourself with? Because obviously have you got really amazing people around you, or do you feel like you're bringing the energy and to those parties? What's the magic there?
So great question. Very diving deep there into I would say so. Maybe to your first question, I over the years I have co-founded with different people and also different personalities. So what I'm I think good at is bringing that initial drive and initial energy, and then I'm also very much a product guy. So I like to build, like, for better or worse, I would say there have been moments where I was too much of a product guy,
Yeah.
and
Vlad, move away.
too feature oriented.
Yeah.
But I'd like to build products. So I think that's and then finding the right people that match with me and sort of are complementary to my skill set. So I think that's sort of how I see myself within all these endeavors. Regarding TED, so I founded TEDx Vienna, so basically bringing the TED brand with the TEDx format to Vienna back in 2010 when I moved here, and um, and it evolved over the 14 years into one of the top TEDx events. There are top 10 TEDx events worldwide with like a large community and attendees coming to Vienna for it. Last year, my wife, who I met 10 years previously through TEDx Vienna, she had joined the team back then. She basically took it a step further. So to do it justice, I'm not co-hosting it with her. She is the leading
Nice. Cool. Yeah.
person behind it. And I'm fortunate enough to help out in a few areas, especially with my expertise of 14 years doing TEDx. But basically, it's a next step. So it's actually one of 3 official TED events worldwide, and it's done with the team in Vienna, led by Alena, and with the TED HQ in the States. So it's you can find it by going on TED.com conferences, and you'll find our event.
Very cool. Yeah, I just wanted to give a bit of a shout out there because obviously that is the next kind of big thing in that space there. So that's October, is it 17th to 19th or something like that?
October 17th to 19th for AI leaders across industries, from the creators to people who apply, people who regulate it, will come to Vienna. So we'll have, to name drop a few people, or function drop or title drop a few people. The CEO of GitHub will be speaking. We'll have so Thomas. We'll have Selena, the CTO of Wikipedia, speaking. We'll have Raya, the VP of research at DeepMind, Google, speaking. So yeah, we'll have somebody from NVIDIA. So there are a lot of people
very
that
cool.
are shaping the space coming here to discuss.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. So again, thank you for kind of sharing and indulging me with some of these questions. This has been really kind of great to chat with you. As we look to wrap up, a couple of questions, quick fire questions. Take as long as you want to answer them, right? But what's in your tech stack and why?
Right. Tech stack, you mean what technologies we use to build Involve Me, or what I use
as a business? So not what you're using to. I'll rephrase it. So what's in your sales tech stack and why?
Right. So I'll just highlight. It's so broad. Like, we have so many things in our stack that I won't go through everything, but I'll just highlight a few that are really helpful. So externally, definitely intercom. I mentioned us also using AI to be more efficient. Intercom has one of the best customer support AIs out there. And we actually have an AI agent doing first level support and solving around 50 to 60% of cases, which is kind of amazing.
Yeah.
Obviously, first level, but that helps out. So and intercom can be used across different parts in the journey, communicating in app, out of app, and so forth. So very important tool, I would say, in our stack. Another one internally that we cannot live without is Slack. So Slack, started out in the beginning on the free Slack and graduated to paying for it, but well worth the money because a lot of the async communication is what makes this business work. So
yeah, absolutely. And what's your favorite use case that you've come across or had someone, whether it's Pipedrive user or any user, on Involve Me? What's your favorite use case that you've seen?
Sure. So my favorite use case revolves around guiding users to the right offering. So whether it's product recommendations, service recommendations, or something that we've talked about previously, the price quotes, I really enjoy it when I see businesses use it to provide value to their customer, really before they are a customer, when they're just a prospect, and you can already they use it to sort of humanize that interaction a bit. So I think I would capture it in as guiding users to the right offering.
And you have mentioned one of your favorite top tips for Pipedrive users, but in terms of Involve Me, what would be your top tips for those just getting started, and for the seasoned pros that may have been using it for a while, but try this function or feature?
Yeah. So I think for just getting started, I would say again, I would repeat the just use the email collection, because that's an imperative. Maybe a second thing is that when creating fields in Pipedrive, make sure to define the right type. There are types behind custom fields. Most is text, but some are numerical, like the calculator result. And there are some special ones, so be mindful of that. That makes a big difference, and it might not work if you don't do it correctly. And for the seasoned pro, I would stick to my outcome, using outcomes in Involve Me. So we have two different types of outcome projects. You can switch between them in Involve Me. Outcomes are basically the ending of a flow. So you go through a few questions, answer them, and at the end you have a thank you page or multiple thank you pages. And the multiple thank you pages we call outcomes. And you can do them in two different ways. You can do them score-based, where outcomes are in certain ranges of scores, or you can do them answer-based, where you can connect answers to specific outcomes and give them values, and then the outcomes are calculated through a formula. Very complicated. It's a mouthful, but in terms of Pipedrive, using the outcomes for segmentation and qualification, I've seen it work wonders for customers. So using the outcomes to define a certain buyer type or ICP, and then kickstarting within Pipedrive certain automation with that.
That's huge, right? So it either defines it and categorizes it so it lands in a pipeline, or a specific person is the owner, but it can also, within Pipedrive itself, that can then be the event trigger to start something else as well. Yeah, very, very cool. For someone that has been using Pipedrive, being integrated with Pipedrive for one of your longest integrations, and that knows it quite well. Do you have any Pipedrive feature requests?
Pipedrive feature requests around Evolve Me, definitely. So there are a few. The ones that we're really looking into that we want to put on our roadmap in the upcoming future is the dynamic two-way integration. So right now you can push data to Pipedrive from Involve Me. So use Involve Me as the data collection, then push and populate Pipedrive. We want to develop that further into having a two-way integration. So basically pinging if a certain contact or different fields for an existing contact are there, then pre-populating fields in Involve Me with information that is existing, or using conditional logic to selectively show or hide different fields that are already existing in Pipedrive, which again would increase the personalization. And you can hear me coming back and back to personalization of experience, making like sort of adapting the flow to each of your users. That's sort of paramount. And again, I bring it always back to how I think about features. Like, does this contribute to our main like North Star in this
mission? Yeah,
and it does. I think it does a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And last question: any reading or podcast recommendations at the moment that's inspiring you or making you laugh? Anything like that?
Yeah, so the podcast that I find myself listening to a lot is 20VC, Harry Stabbings, and he interviews founders from software founders specifically, mostly VC backed, but and he also interviews VCs, and it's a very good pulse check on sort of what happens internationally. Yeah, I would say that would be.
And that's 20 VC.
20 VC, yeah.
Nice. We'll check it out. Well, Vlad, this has been brilliant. Thank you very much. Was there anything else in particular you'd like to cover before we sign off?
It's been great. I mean, I want to thank you again. I think, as I expected, Evolve and Involve.
It's hand in glove. It's hand in glove.
Hand in glove. They were pretty close by.
So. The inside of my gilet all these years does have Evolve Me on the inside.
So thank you for the opportunity, Bruce. It's been a very nice discussion. It felt that it flowed well, and happy to be on the podcast.
Great. Well, thank you very much, and thank you for listening to the Evolve Pipedrive podcast, where we talk all things Pipedrive, sales, apps, and the Pipedrive marketplace in order to help you grow your business. At Evolve, we're a technology consultancy based in the UK, working globally, specializing in helping scaling businesses do more with Pipedrive and their wider tech stack. I hope you found this insightful. Please let us know what you think in the comments. Hit like, subscribe, or share with someone you think will find this useful. Thank you very much. Vlad, speak soon.
Speak soon. Take care.